In 1991, Jaycee Dugard was 11 years old when she was kidnapped while walking to school. Her family searched for years. Police had no leads. Most people assumed she was dead. 18 years later, in 2009, Jaycee walked into a police station. She was alive. She had been held captive the entire time, just miles from her home. This video contains 10 people who vanished and were found years, sometimes decades later. Some were held captive. Others chose to disappear. And some have stories so strange, you won't believe they're real. These aren't the cases that end in tragedy. These are the ones where people came back. But sometimes coming back is just the beginning of an even stranger story. Let's start with a girl who was found after 18 years. Mystery number 1, Jaycee Dugard, found after 18 years. The abduction, June 10, 1991, South Lake Tahoe, California. 11-year-old Jaycee Dugard was walking to her school bus stop. A car pulled up. 2 people grabbed her, threw her in the back, and drove away. Her stepfather witnessed it from a distance but couldn't reach her in time. Jaycee vanished. Police searched. Her face was on missing person posters everywhere. Years passed. No trace. No leads. Most believed she was dead. The captivity, Jaycee was taken by Philip and Nancy Garrido. They held her in a hidden compound of sheds and tents behind their house. For 18 years, Jaycee lived there, completely hidden from the world. She had 2 daughters, fathered by Philip during her captivity. The girls were born in the backyard compound and never saw a doctor. No birth certificates. No records. They existed in complete secrecy. Despite living in a residential neighborhood, despite parole officers visiting Philip regularly, a registered sex offender, no one discovered Jaycee and her daughters. The discovery. In August 2009, Philip brought Jaycee and her daughters to university campus for a strange religious event he was planning. A security officer found the situation suspicious and reported it. 2 days later, Philip visited his parole office with the girls. An officer questioned him. Eventually, Jaycee revealed her identity. After 18 years, Jaycee Dugard was free. The aftermath. Jaycee reunited with her mother, who had never given up hope. Philip and Nancy Garrido were sentenced to life in prison. Jaycee wrote a memoir and now advocates for kidnapping victims. But the question remains, how did she stay hidden for 18 years just miles from where she was taken? How did dozens of parole visits never uncover compound? And what strength did it take to survive? Mystery number 2, Elizabeth Smart, found after 9 months. The kidnapping. June 5, 2002, Salt Lake City, Utah. 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart was sleeping in her bedroom when a man broke in, held a knife to her throat, and forced her to leave with him. Her 9-year-old sister witnessed it, but was too terrified to move. The kidnapper was Brian David Mitchell, a homeless man who had briefly worked at the Smart home. He took Elizabeth to a campsite in the mountains with his wife, Wanda Barzy. The captivity. Mitchell held Elizabeth captive for 9 months. He forced her to wear robes and a veil, calling her by a different name. He moved her between campsites and even took her into public, including walking her through downtown Salt Lake City multiple times. People saw her. Some even thought she looked like the missing girl from the news. But the veil, the strange religious clothing, and Mitchell's manipulation kept her hidden in plain sight. The discovery, March 12, 2003. Someone called police after seeing Mitchell, Barzy, and a veiled girl walking down a street. Officers approached and questioned them. Mitchell claimed the girl was his daughter, but the officer persisted. He asked the girl to lift her veil. She hesitated, terrified. Finally, she revealed her face and whispered, "I'm Elizabeth Smart." After 9 months, she was free. The aftermath. Elizabeth reunited with her family. Mitchell was sentenced to life in prison. Elizabeth became an advocate for missing children and has spoken openly about her experience. Her case raised disturbing questions. How many times was she in public while missing? How many people saw her and didn't realize? And how did she survive the psychological manipulation? Mystery number 3, Natascha Kampusch, found after 8 years. The abduction, March 2nd, 1998. Vienna, Austria. 10-year-old Natascha Kampusch was walking to school when a man grabbed her and threw her into a white van. Witnesses saw it happen but couldn't get the license plate. The man was Wolfgang Pricklapil, a 36-year-old technician. He took Natascha to his house and locked her in a secret cellar beneath his garage, a soundproof dungeon he had built specifically for this purpose. The captivity. For 8 years, Natascha lived in that cellar. It was 5 square meters, about the size of a small bathroom. No windows, no natural light. Wolfgang controlled everything. When she ate, when she slept, when she could bathe. As she grew older, he occasionally allowed her upstairs, but only under strict supervision. He convinced her that the outside world had forgotten her, that her family didn't want her back, that he was the only person who cared. The psychological manipulation was so complete that even when opportunities arose, Natascha didn't try to escape. She had been conditioned to believe there was nowhere to go. The escape, August 23, 2006. Wolfgang was distracted while Natascha was vacuuming his car. For the first time in 8 years, he wasn't watching her closely. Natascha saw her chance. She ran. She ran to a neighbor's house and screamed for help. After 3,096 days in captivity, Natascha Kampusch was free. When police arrived at Wolfgang's house, they found the cellar, but Wolfgang was gone. Hours later, his body was found on railroad tracks. He had thrown himself in front of a train. The aftermath. Natascha was 18 when she was freed. She had spent her entire adolescence in captivity. She later bought Wolfgang's house, the place of her imprisonment, because she said it was the only place she felt she owned her story. Her case shocked the world. 8 years in cellar, yet she emerged, survived, and rebuilt her life. Mystery number 4, Shawn Hornbeck, found after 4 years. The abduction, October 6, 2002, Richwoods, Missouri. 11-year-old Shawn Hornbeck was riding his bike when Michael Devlin, a 41-year-old man, abducted him at gunpoint. Shawn's parents searched desperately. The case went cold. Most believed Shawn was dead. The captivity. Michael held Shawn captive in his apartment for 4 years. But unlike other cases, Shawn wasn't locked in a basement. He lived in the apartment, sometimes answered the door when people knocked, and was even seen in public. Shawn later revealed that Michael had threatened to kill him and his family if he tried to escape or tell anyone. The psychological control was absolute. In 2007, Michael kidnapped another boy, 13-year-old Ben Omby. For days later, police traced Michael's truck and raided his apartment. They found both boys. Shawn had been there the entire time, hidden in plain sight. The aftermath. Shawn was 15 when he was found. He reunited with his family, but the psychological trauma was immense. He struggled with guilt. Why didn't he escape? Why didn't he tell someone? Michael Devlin was sentenced to 74 life sentences. Shawn's case reveals the power of psychological control. He was in public, around people, yet couldn't escape. The invisible prison was stronger than any physical one. Mystery number 5. Michelle Knight, Amanda Berry, Gina DeSuze, found after 10 years. The abductions. Between 2002 and 2004, 3 young women vanished in Cleveland, Ohio. Michelle Knight, 21. Amanda Berry, 16. Gina DeSuze, 14. They disappeared on different days, in different locations. Police didn't initially connect the cases, but all 3 were taken by the same man, Ariel Castro, a school bus driver who lived in a normal residential neighborhood. The captivity. For over 10 years, Ariel held all 3 women captive in his house. He chained them in the basement, abused them, and controlled every aspect of their lives. Amanda gave birth to a daughter during captivity. Fathered by Ariel, the child was born in a plastic pool in the house, with no medical care, despite the women being held in a residential area. Despite neighbors living feet away, despite Ariel's family occasionally visiting, no one knew. The women were hidden in plain sight. The escape, May 6, 2013. Ariel made a mistake. He left the house without securing the locks properly. Amanda found the door slightly ajar. She screamed for help through a crack in the door. A neighbor, Charles Ramsey, heard her. He helped her break through the door. Amanda ran to freedom with her 6-year-old daughter. Police arrived and found Michelle and Gina inside. After over a decade, all 3 women were free. The aftermath. Ariel Castro was arrested and sentenced to life plus 1,000 years. 1 month later, he committed suicide in prison. The 3 women have since rebuilt their lives. Amanda wrote a book. Michelle became an advocate. Gina returned to her family. Their survival is a testament to human resilience. 10 years in hell, yet they emerged and reclaimed their lives. We're halfway through, 5 cases down. But not all missing people are held captive. Sometimes people disappear by choice. Mystery number 6, Brenda Heist, found after 11 years. The disappearance, February 8, 2002, Leeds, Pennsylvania. Brenda Heist, a 53-year-old mother of 2, dropped her kids at school and vanished. Her car was found in the school parking lot. No note, no explanation. Her husband reported her missing. Police searched. Her family was devastated. For 11 years, they believed she was dead. They even held a memorial service. The truth. In 2013, Brenda walked into a police station in Florida and turned herself in. She was alive. She had left voluntarily. Brenda revealed that on that morning in 2002, she had been sitting in her car, overwhelmed with stress, financial problems, and depression. A group of homeless people approached and asked if she needed help. On impulse, Brenda left with them. She abandoned her car, her life, her family. She hitchhiked to Florida and lived homeless for 11 years, doing odd jobs, sleeping in camps, completely off the grid. The aftermath. When Brenda revealed herself, her family was shocked, relief mixed with anger and confusion. She had put them through 11 years of not knowing. Brenda said she regretted it immediately, but was too ashamed to come back. The longer she stayed away, the harder it became to return. She was briefly arrested for identity theft, using a fake name, but was not charged for disappearing. You can abandon your family. It's not illegal. Brenda's case is rare. A missing person who chose to vanish, lived in plain sight, and eventually came back to face what she left behind. Mystery number 7, Timothy Carney, found after 23 years. The disappearance, March 8, 1976, Los Angeles. Timothy Carney, 17, left his house after an argument with his parents. He never came home. His family searched. Police investigated. No trace. For 23 years, Timothy Carney was a missing person. The discovery. In 1999, a man was arrested in California for a minor offense. Routine fingerprinting revealed his identity. Timothy Carney. He was 40 years old. Timothy had not been abducted. He had not been held captive. He had simply left and built a new life. He changed his name, moved frequently, worked odd jobs, and avoided anything that would connect him to his old identity. For 23 years, he lived as someone else. The reunion. When found, Timothy was given a choice: reconnect with his family or continue his life. He chose to meet them. The reunion was complicated. His parents had aged. His siblings had lives he knew nothing about. He was a stranger to people who had mourned him for decades. Timothy later said he left because he felt suffocated, trapped, desperate to escape. He never intended to stay away so long. But as the years passed, returning felt impossible. His case raises an uncomfortable question. If someone chooses to vanish, do they owe their family an explanation? Or is starting over a fundamental human right? Mystery number 8, Yulia Ustio, found after 6 years. The disappearance, September 2013, Vladivostok, Russia. Yulia Ustio, 16, left home after an argument with her family. She was reported missing. Police searched. Her family was desperate. 6 years passed. No contact, no sightings. Yulia was presumed dead. The discovery. In 2019, police in Russia were investigating a property for unrelated reasons. They discovered a secret room in a house. Inside, they found Yulia, now 22. She had been living in that room for 6 years, kept there by a man named Victor, who who would convince her to move in with him when she ran away. Over time, he became controlling, then abusive, then imprisoning. Yulia was found malnourished, terrified, and psychologically broken, but she was alive. The aftermath: Victor was arrested. Yulia reunited with her family, though the trauma was immense. Her case shows how quickly a teenage runaway can become a captive. Yulia left home voluntarily, but within weeks, she was trapped. By the time she realized she was a prisoner, escape seemed impossible. 6 years, in a house, in a residential area, and no one knew. Mystery number 9, Edward Bright, found after 47 years. The disappearance, 1977, London. Edward Bright, 25, left his home and was never seen again. His family reported him missing. Police investigated but found nothing. Decades passed. Edward's parents died without knowing what happened to their son. The case went cold. The discovery. In 2024, 47 years later, social services in London found an elderly man in a hospital with no identification. No memory has passed, suffering from dementia. Through fingerprint analysis, they identified him. Edward Bright, now 72 years old. Edward had been homeless for decades. At some point, he had suffered head trauma or illness that affected his memory. He had been living on the streets, in shelters, completely lost within the system. The reunion. Edward's remaining family, nieces and nephews who barely remembered him, were contacted. They visited him, but Edward had no memory of them or his former life. He was found, but in many ways, the person who left in 1977 never came back. Edward Bright had vanished not just physically, but mentally. His case is a haunting reminder. Sometimes people are found, but the person they were is still lost. Mystery number 10, Holly Glynn, found after 2 years. The disappearance, November 2015, Christchurch, New Zealand. Holly Glynn, 17, left a party with friends. She said she was going home. She never arrived. Her family reported her missing. Police searched. Her face was on every news channel. Months passed. No trace. 2 years went by. Holly was presumed dead. The discovery. In 2017, a woman called police from a remote cabin in the New Zealand wilderness. She was Holly Glynn. Holly had not been abducted. She had left voluntarily. After leaving the party, Holly had decided she didn't want to go home. She didn't want to face school expectations, pressure. So she kept walking. She hitchhiked, stayed with various people, worked under-the-table jobs, and eventually ended up living in a remote cabin with a community of off-grid individuals. For 2 years, she lived in the wilderness. The return. Holly eventually called police because she was sick and needed medical care. When she revealed who she was, the world was shocked. Her family was relieved but devastated. Why didn't she call? Why let them suffer for 2 years thinking she was dead? Holly explained she felt trapped by her life. Leaving felt like the only option. But once she left, returning felt impossible. The longer she stayed away, the harder it became. She wasn't held captive. She was hiding from a life she couldn't face. Holly's case raises a difficult truth. Not all missing people want to be found. And sometimes the hardest part isn't disappearing. It's coming back. 10 people who vanished. 10 people who were found. Some were held captive for years, surviving unimaginable trauma. Others chose to disappear, walking away from lives they couldn't handle. And some were lost not physically, but mentally, found but never truly returning. Jaycee Dugard, Elizabeth Smart, Natascha Kampusch, Sean Hornbeck, the Cleveland Three, Brenda Heist, Timothy Carney, Yulia Usto, Edward Bright, Holly Glynn. They all came back. But coming back doesn't mean the story ends. For some, it was the beginning of healing. For others, it was the beginning of a different kind of struggle. These cases remind us, missing doesn't always mean dead. Lost doesn't always mean kidnapped. And found doesn't always mean rescued. If you made it through all 10, thank you for listening to their stories. Subscribe for more mysteries. Not all of them have endings like these. And if you're struggling, if you feel trapped, If disappearing feels like the only option, reach out. There are people who care. There are ways forward that don't involve vanishing. Thanks for watching.